Gathering voices, building worlds. The Ampliverse.
Welcome to Harry Potter and the Anxious Millennials, a show where we delve week by week into each chapter of the Harry Potter series. I learned that, you probably already know this, but that's the finger you're supposed to use.
Gentle finger.
Yeah, the most gentle finger.
I never use it. I probably use the worst.
I don't
the finger
fucking use it.
It's probably, I use like my middle finger the most, and that's probably the worst for you, because I guess your pointer finger would be the worst.
Pointer finger is
the
probably
strongest,
the worst.
But
yeah. Or the thumb. That's how I do my makeup.
Oh my God, the most uncomfortable way. Leave all of this in.
Perfect.
Listeners, this is why we did a podcast and not makeup tutorials. In case you ever were wondering. Adam, hello. How are you doing over there?
I'm chilly. How are you?
I hate you. It is sweltering hot over here in the UK. And famously, we don't have like air conditioning in the UK. It's just like not a thing because you only need it for like 5% of the year.
Right.
So it is very hot. I'm hoping I have the window open just because I want like some fresh air coming in, but I hope it's not too loud.
Have you taken like multiple showers? No, I can't hear it. Have you taken like multiple showers today?
I did take a shower. Yeah, I did take a shower today, and I will be taking another one before I go to bed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's so sweaty.
But yes, here we are. I'm glad you're chilly. Stay chilled.
Brr.
Let's just get right to it. This week we read chapter 18, which is called Dumbledore's Army. We have arrived. We are here.
We're here.
It is time. Adam, what happens in this chapter?
What a great question that I was definitely prepared for.
I like when we're not prepared for it, though, if I'm being honest.
I don't know why I can't. It's the first Dumbledore's Army Defense Against the Dark Arts practice for this group of 28 people.
Yeah.
It's the first meeting of the club.
Who helps with this club situation?
Daubert. Scoobert Daubert.
Not Daubert. Good old Daubert, our fave.
We love Dobby.
Yeah,
yes,
great.
Dobby helps. I mean, there's also a Quidditch practice in there that is so inconsequential to the plot of this chapter that I was like mad that I had to read about it.
We really need to talk about Fred and George's what would you even call them?
Their
pustules?
Their entrepreneurial ventures is really what they
okay,
are.
sure.
Yeah.
That's a very kind way of saying it, Adam.
Yeah.
Adam's
research and development. Yeah,
great.
You learn
love
about
it.
boils.
Yeah, that's what they are. Boils
On the undercarriage,
pustules.
let's say.
On the undercarriage, yeah. Love it. Love to see it.
So the chapter starts out, if we remember the end of the last chapter, her little grubby hands were reaching through the flame.
Very scary.
Of Sirius's face. I don't know how, now that I think about it, like, how does that work? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what would she have been able to catch him and pull him? How does the Flute Network work?
We don't know. That's the problem. We don't know. Because I'm like,
Right.
Well, I guess technically you could, because it's essentially like you've stuck your head into the Flute Network. So if she did get a hold of his head, could she have pulled him into her office? I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know how that works. Yeah.
I don't know.
So anyway, this is the next day, and they're in Charms class, and they're talking about what happened. Hermione is like basically convinced that she at the very least she's convinced that she attacked Hedwig and like read the letter.
And Hermione is pretty much always correct, at least in this book specifically.
Yes.
She's correct.
It's the woman's intuition.
Girl, that will not lead you astray. I am just saying. I'm sure every woman that is listening to this podcast can like back me up on this. There have been times as a woman in your life when you do not listen to your intuition and you really regret it. So once you kind of have had a couple of those experiences, you're just like, all right, I'm not going to question it.
Mm-hmm. So while they're in Charms class, the reason they're able to like talk amongst themselves is because everybody in the class is practicing the silencing charm, silencio, which is just the Spanish word for be quiet. That's not even... that's
real creative
so
on a bunch of different animals.
Yes, on bullfrogs and ravens. So, and if it's not going well, that has to be a very loud classroom at the moment. Which is
both of them.
Because bullfrogs are so fucking loud.
Yeah.
And ravens are as well.
Yeah. And ravens are essentially the same.
Yeah.
Brah and rah.
Yeah. So they're having this conversation, and Hermione is obviously, you know, she's got silencio down. She knows the silencing charm. I do like the description of when she does it to the bullfrog, like mid-croak, and it immediately quiets, and it says it stares at her reproachfully. Like, bruh. How dare you? It's so funny.
I love both. I love that we both did an impression, so we weren't watching the other's impression.
You have no idea what you did, but I bet it was very funny, Ari. Ron has a raven that he's supposed to be working on, and he's not doing well. This continues the through line that Ron is an idiot. He like yells at Hermione because she's like, shut that fucking raven up. And he's like, it's actually harder to do on ravens. So she's like, fine, let's swap. And then immediately silences the raven.
I love that. I love that Hermione's like, I don't have any time for your ego.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah. But the conversation generally about like what happened with Sirius is that they just have to be very like, they have to be very careful now because it's even more apparent that they are being watched in a real way. So they end class, and Angelina comes up to them and is like, great news. We can reform Quidditch. We are allowed to do this again. And so Ron and Harry obviously are very excited about this. And so they have to catch up because they've missed all this practice time because of them not being able to practice because of the stupid rule or whatever. And she reminds us, the readers, basically, that their first game is in 3 weeks against Slytherin.
Of course. As if things weren't bad enough.
As if things weren't bad enough. So Angelina walks away, and Hermione is like, are we doing the right thing? And Ron and Harry are like, sorry, we weren't privy to the first half of the conversation that was going on inside your own head.
Your mind.
What are you talking about? Which I do this fairly often to RJ, where I'll like ask the question that I had been talking about to myself for like 3 minutes, and then I'll be like, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, huh?
Michael does that too. He'll have like a thought out loud in the middle of a thought. Like, and I'm like, what? I can't catch up to whatever you're doing.
Yeah. I don't mean to do it, but it's true. It happens. So she's basically like, well, I'm just saying I'm nervous. Are we doing the right thing with this Defense Against the Dark Arts situation? Because they basically got their blessing, right, from Sirius in the last chapter. Yeah. Which I think does put Hermione... It gives her pause. Let's say that.
Yeah, she doesn't know if it's the right thing now that he's given them his blessing.
Yeah. Which, fair enough. This is probably the only time in this book where she's like wrong to like doubt herself. You know what I mean? Because I think Dumbledore's army is like a positive thing.
Oh yeah.
But it makes sense because she's the only one who's objectively, of the friends at least, objectively looking at Sirius and like the decision Sirius is making.
Oh yeah.
So it makes sense to be like, I don't know, this guy's like now all in and he's like been
vicariously living through us. Yes. And that's what's going on. It's like a little weird.
Yeah. It's not great. But I like that she calls it out, even though Harry obviously gets annoyed because anytime he's just transitioned his like, you talk about my dad and I get annoyed, and so now you talk about Sirius and I get annoyed. It's like now that's the whole package with him. Cut to later that day, they're going to have Quidditch practice, except it's like monsooning outside.
Yeah. Full monsoon season.
Quidditch is like, I mean, I guess would have understood this before because there have been other games that have been played in bad weather. But it's not like baseball where like a drop of rain and they will be like, the game is done. The game is canceled. We're not playing. It's like American football or I don't know. Does soccer do it too?
But it's weird because they've played in like pouring rain. So that's why I'm just like, I don't know if you can have both. I don't know if you can have a practice get rained out because the weather is that bad. But then like we hear about them playing games where it's like Harry can't even see through the rain. I'm like,
We're back to Quidditch. You know, my feelings about Quidditch. If you followed the series at all, I don't give a fuck about Quidditch. So they're talking about apparently Fred and George have included with their like candies you can eat to cause whatever. Yeah. There's another one called Fever Fudge, which is supposed to cause just a fever, which is fine. I mean, it's not fine. Fevers are actually very bad for you. They can be very bad for you, but fine. However, it's not totally working because it's also giving them boils on top of their fever.
Butts.
Now, here's the thing. That means they have the fever though, right? Or they had the fever earlier.
Maybe earlier, yeah.
And they already got rid of it, but the antidote has not gotten rid of the boils, probably.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
That's what happens.
That sounds right, probably.
So they go out to practice. Angelina's like, Harry, what was that spell for your glasses so you could see? And it was an impervious spell. So they all use it just on their faces.
Yeah, so is it like wow, 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 like over their face?
Who the fuck knows?
Also,
is it...
Maybe you're about to ask the same question.
You know, what is it?
Is it just on their faces for the rest of the day? Where does it go?
What does it do?
How do you unpervious it? Where? I don't understand.
Is your skin now dry?
Do you have flawless skin like a K-pop idol now forever?
I'm just confused.
That's what impervious does, right?
The pores are so tight. There's just the tightest, but the pores just shrink to nothing. I want this damn spell.
Yeah, give it to me.
So practice goes, how you expect it would go, not well, because it's no one can see each other. They're only practicing with
even
one
with
bludger.
Impervious. Yes. This is what I'm saying. Like, I'm just like, wait, hold on.
It's so silly. I get wanting to practice, fine, whatever, but like, come on, Angelina.
I guess how many Quidditch practices have they missed because she didn't give them, like, how long has it been?
Since that decree?
She might be just like desperate.
Yeah. So after that, they go to the changing room and, Fred and George are sharing to each other that maybe their boils have exploded.
Well, yeah.
I'm gonna.
We don't need to.
No.
We don't need to do this.
No.
You can read that part.
You know what, Joe? You didn't need to do this. You didn't need to include that. That is disgusting. But Harry, while he's like toweling his hair off, gets a sudden pain to his scar.
Oh, yeah.
Yet again, leading us to question, like, what does the scar mean in the book? We're learning a lot about his connection to Voldemort through this book. So there's the dreams, which seem to like have no linear understanding. And now we're realizing that anytime Voldemort has like a mood swing, basically, is when Harry's like, oh, I can feel it. Because it's his scar hurts, but he can also feel the emotion. It's the same as the emotion that I'll get from you. Oh, you got the kind of lover that could be so. Give me a heart, make it real, or else forget about it. You don't know this song?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
are you going to tell me what it is?
I don't know the name. Hold on.
Smooth.
Oh, it's Santana's Smooth.
Oh.
Featuring Rob Thomas.
Oh, okay. Nope, definitely didn't know that song.
Okay. I think it was on a Now CD once that I owned when I was like in 8th grade
yes,
or whatever.
remember the Now CDs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Harry knows that Voldemort at this moment, he is angry. We don't know about what specifically, but we know he's angry. And then he's realizing while he's talking to Ron about what he felt, that the other times he's also felt anger, but he's also felt pleasure. I don't like using the word pleasure there. He's also felt happiness or like glee or something.
Can I say something about the Voldemort vision thing that's happening here?
I wish you would.
Okay. So this is very deliberate. Like, Harry is 100% having a scar reaction because of Voldemort, something happening with Voldemort.
Yes.
But like a couple, maybe not the first time when he's thinking of like when he felt his scar with Voldemort. Or excuse me, that's not clear at all. When he felt his scar with Voldemort, that's every time. When he felt his scar for the first time, that he then is about to reference when he's like, oh, and at the beginning of the year or like towards
at the beginning
end
of this
of the
book
summer
that we're characters in. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like at the beginning of this book, he was furious. And I was like, okay, so now you're going back and confirming that these times that you felt something in your scar or whatever, elsewhere in your body, it was always because of something very specific that was going on with Voldemort. But wasn't that essentially disproven previously in the books? Or like when, I think there's another time in this book when it's when he's with Dumbledore. Maybe I shouldn't talk about this yet, though. Maybe I'll just wait. I'll just wait until we get to that chapter. Okay. But I just want to kind of say...
Let's put a pin in it and see what happens.
Yeah, because right now she's confirming that he only has reactions... Like, his scar only hurts when there is something specific going on with Voldemort.
Yeah. When his connection is connected.
Yeah. That's the only reason his scar hurts.
Yeah.
Yes. That's all I had to say, really.
Because I'm just like Ari is not a fan.
I just feel like it doesn't track, right? Like, I'm like, I understand what she's trying to do.
You know what I don't like? The fact that this whole weapon thing is a fucking red herring.
Oh, I know. And it's not a weapon. Why do they keep calling it a weapon? Do they genuinely think it's a weapon? Is that the thing? They think it's a weapon.
They must. But everyone, all the adults at least, should know what's in the Department of Mysteries. And they know it's in the Department of Mysteries.
Yeah.
So
I guess maybe the adults don't. Maybe the Department of Mysteries really is just like completely a mystery. No one knows.
It's a mystery.
Yeah.
I guess that could be it.
I mean, it has to be that. Yeah. Because then...
So they just are assuming because they know he wants something specific, a tangible item.
Yeah.
From the Department of Mysteries. So they think it must be a weapon.
Yeah.
All right.
Agreed.
All right. Fine. They're in the common room. They go back to the common room. Harry's supposed to be working on this paper for Snape. No. But he's mulling over the thoughts in his mind. He's like doing the thing where you read a passage and then you have to reread it because you're like, I'm actually not even reading. My eyes are like looking at the words and I'm not taking the information.
Welcome to ADHD.
Yeah. But Harry ends up falling asleep while he's in the common room because, the fire is roaring and Crookshanks is purring and it's probably
That sounds like a nightmare to me right now.
It's probably 1,000
baking.
So he falls asleep. He has a dream. Speaking of dreams, he has a dream in which he is in a long corridor. Mm-hmm. There are no windows. And there is a door at the end that he comes to, and he's about to open up the door to walk through it when he is awoken.
So Voldemort was in the Department of Mysteries. Voldemort was in...
That's what I...
Adam, what is this? There's no way that he just... Unless he went into someone's mind?
Right, because I guess he's a... What's the opposite of occlumency? Because occlumency is blocking it.
Legitimens.
Yeah. So maybe Voldemort's doing that, so he's seeing... It's like third hand. What...
That's too much. I'm sorry. I don't think that can go through the scar. Yeah. So I'm like, so then Voldemort is in...
She's literally in...
He is at the Ministry of Magic in the Department of Mysteries.
Yeah, just hanging out.
No, I don't believe it. If we're gonna believe what we're gonna believe later, I think that's too much.
Or, okay, Voldemort is also asleep and having the same dream of what he wants to happen. Like,
maybe
we're just sharing dreams now.
Or he's already planting the vision in Harry's head.
Ooh,
maybe
he's doing Legilimens.
Legilimens, yeah. No, isn't it Legilim?
Girl.
Legilimens. Oh yeah, it is Legilimency. Yeah. Legilimens. Yeah. Legilimency.
Maybe that's good. I like that. That he's like leaving the breadcrumbs for Harry to follow.
Yeah,
because Harry
and, get him to do it.
Harry is a pawn. Honestly, Harry is a pawn for two sides of this situation. I'm going to say that.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Harry is not in charge of his own actions at this point in this book series.
No, yeah.
So he is awoken up by Dobby. Wow, Return of Dobby.
Yeah. How much do we want to talk about this? How much do we have to talk about this?
Which part?
Just the
there's
Dobby
the obvious
of it
part that we have to talk about, which is like what he revealed, like the information he gives to Harry. We have to talk about that.
Okay, yeah, let's go from there.
Okay, so he wakes up. Dobby is... This is the second time in his history. This is actually maybe his like third time in his history with Dobby where he's been woken up by Dobby.
Yeah, I'll never forget the one where Dobby was just like in his face, staring at him, but not saying anything.
Also, the idea of like the fire is now basically dead. Like it's very dark in the common room. I'm sure it's pitch dark outside, so there's no like moonlight. Maybe there's just like a hint of moonlight coming in, and then you just see this figure standing by you that has on a bunch of hats.
Yeah. So what is that? Yeah, definitely. You don't realize. You wouldn't realize that that's a little thing wearing hats. Like I would be like, what is this monster?
Pee my pants. I would pee my pants.
Scary.
So let's start from the positives. So Harry and Dobby have a wonderful conversation. This is probably the nicest that Harry has ever been to Dobby, apart from essentially granting him his freedom.
Yeah.
It's very nice. And then at the end, Harry asks for help in finding a place at Hogwarts where they can practice defense against the dark arts.
Right.
And Dobby is like, oh, girl, you got to go to the come and go room. Or as you people call it, the room of requirement. And Harry's like, what is this room? And then he tells them that it's a room on the 7th floor in the corridor where you like think about something you really need, and all of a sudden the door appears to you. He's used it for Winky. Harry remembers that Dumbledore talked about having like a bathroom appear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Dobby mentions that Filch has like used it when like he was running out of like a cleaning solution. All of a sudden there was like this would have been so nice during COVID. You could have been like, oh, I need to get toilet paper. And then all of a sudden there's just a room of toilet paper, you know?
Right there.
Right there. He tells him this information, and Harry is very grateful. He does not go seek it out immediately because he's learning, he's growing, he's not making impulsive actions. Mm-hmm. We do love to see it.
Can I mention one thing about the Dobby bit?
Yeah, we can mention one thing about the Dobby bit.
I just want to point out that the hat situation all of the house elves have now refused to clean Gryffindor Tower, and now Dobby has to clean it himself. And I just want to say that that's what Jo decided to do with Hermione trying to free the house elves. That's the route she's going to take with what she can do with the house elves. Like, it's just every time. That's all I want to say.
I still think it would have been so much smarter to be like, no, they have to be given. You have to give them. You have to
it just doesn't
give
work.
it to them. Because like otherwise, none of them, they wouldn't be able to like clean their dormitories. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure these kids are not putting their clothes back.
No, definitely not. Yeah. No way. How would they be doing their laundry, girl?
Hello?
Kids aren't doing their own laundry.
He's wearing all the hats, scarves, and socks. He looks insane. We also find out Winky is still drinking a lot. I didn't love knowing that. I very much was like, oh, hey, we could have just left Winky in book 4 and then never returned to her as a character. And not that I'm saying that Winky's a bad character, but more just like, I didn't need to be reminded of what that character's arc was. And apparently still is. That character's not moved on from that arc.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying. It's just like bad. It's just always bad.
So the next day, it's still pouring. Still a monsoon. They're talking about what Dobby had told Harry about the room of requirement. And at first Hermione's like, well, I don't know. Dobby's track record is
he the most reliable?
Great.
I mean.
Now, in Dobby's defense, Gillyweed saved everyone's ass last year.
Oh, yeah, she didn't mention Gillyweed. Yeah, Gillyweed saved you too, girl.
Hello?
You were under there.
So, remember that, Hermione. She was unconscious, though, at the time, so it's a little hard for her to remember. But she does bring up, she's like, I mean, he did at one point remove all of the bones from... Well, no, he didn't!
No, it wasn't him, actually him.
I know, I'm just saying.
Yeah, wait, hold on, Hermione.
Yeah.
That was
Gilderoy Lockhart did that.
Yeah, hold on, wait, that's a bit of a stretch. I didn't even think about that. I was like, well, he wasn't involved, but I guess, yeah, he like broke his arm. He kind of like resulted in Harry's arm being broken. But I was like,
yeah,
no, that was Lockhart.
That was Lockhart.
Yeah, girl, you should have said broke your arm.
You ended up in the hospital wing in book 2 because of...
Yeah.
That's fine.
But not, he removed all the bones in your body.
No.
That was
Gilderoy
Lockhart. Your celebrity crush, Hermione.
Yes.
Get it together.
Yeah. But then Harry's like, well, I remember Dumbledore telling me about this room during the Yule Ball last year. So, and she's like, oh, great. Then I know. I love further that questions.
It's instant. I love that it's
instantaneous.
Instant. She's like, oh, okay. Never mind.
Great. They go, so they decide that it's going to be tonight. Quidditch practice has been canceled. Angelina has decided that it's not worth it. So they hold practice tonight, or what? I don't know what to call this group while we're waiting to call it what it's officially called later. But they're going to get together tonight at 8 o'clock in the room of requirement. They tell everybody where it's located. Oh, there was this whole thing earlier in the chapter too, by the way. I'm thinking of Katie Bell at the moment. Yeah. Where Katie Bell is getting like pelted by Peeves with like ink pellets. And I just want to say, why is it always Katie Bell? Poor Katie Bell. Now that I'm like conscious of the fact that it's always Katie Bell. Leave her Katie Bell. Leave Katie Bell alone. Harry, Ron, Hermione go up first. He intelligently, I can't believe he did this. He brought the Marauders map with him, which I was like, my God, Harry.
I mean, first time in this
you
book.
owned it. I can't believe it.
How far are we? Like a third through this book, and he finally remembered. Oh, no, we're like almost halfway there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They walk up and down the hallway 3 times, fully concentrating on needing a room that fits, let's say, their requirements. Mm-hmm. And the door appears out of nowhere. They go inside, and it's like perfectly set up for exactly what they need. There's cushions.
It's amazing.
There's like sneakoscopes. There's the faux glass that seems to be the exact same faux glass.
Yeah. How did that happen?
This is genuinely my question, which is like, does Hogwarts take things?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Like,
if it kind of just gets left behind, it's just like into the room of requirement.
Yeah. Because doesn't the Mirror of Erised end up here too? Or that was just where... No, wait.
I can't remember. Are you right?
Probably not, girl. Let's assume I'm not. It's probably smarter to assume that I'm not correct.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know.
Because I know that this is the room later in next book where there's like just a ton of shit. There's just a bunch of shit in this room.
Right.
Maybe a cabinet. Maybe there's just like a random cabinet in this room next
maybe.
book. We'll see. So anyway, when they use it, it's perfectly filled with everything that they need for practicing Defense Against the Dark Arts. I also love the idea that there's like a bunch of just books as well, like specific.
Yeah.
Can I be so honest? If I knew about this room, I would not sleep in my dorm. I would just walk and be like, this is my bedroom now. I'm so serious right now.
I would have been too scared to sleep in a room like that by myself at that age. But you go sleep in that room.
It'd be great.
I would have gone into that room. That room would have been like, spot. Oh, well, yeah, I was going to say, yeah, that's a great hookup spot. The room would have been the best place for like, if we wanted to do like a little K-pop night at Hogwarts. Like, oh my God. Would have been I'm thinking of that Run BTS episode where they do like the sleepover and they're all in their PJs and it's like a big open.
There's a big karaoke. There's a karaoke TV. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. And slowly but surely, everybody else shows up. All 25 other people show up. They're all very excited.
Don't you think it's a little crazy that no one? I mean, I guess never mind. Hogwarts is like such a big school that if there's that many people walking around, I'm sure they were all like a little sneaky about how they did it.
Yeah.
As long as it wasn't just like a big group.
They didn't come in like a big group of like 25 or whatever.
Yeah.
I more was like, I think it's funny that no one had ever... I think Fred and George say they had used it before. This room had appeared to them when they hid from Filch. But I was surprised that more people didn't have like I used this once when I...
No, you're right. It was the hookup room and no one wanted to say.
No one wanted to say.
They'd been doing that.
Ginny and Michael.
Yeah, they were like, we're regulars, but we're not going to say that.
Is that his name?
Michael Corner.
Michael Corner.
What did you say?
No, I said Michael, but then I was like, that doesn't seem right.
Oh, yeah. You're Michael Corner. Michael. I know. That's why it's funny that his name is Michael.
So they're about to get started when Hermione's like, excuse me, hi, can we actually elect a leader? And Cho is like, Harry's our leader. How dare you? Just so funny.
Don't come for my man.
And Hermione's like, no, I understand. We're on the same page. I want to make it official, if that's okay, sweetheart.
Yeah, calm down.
They all unanimously vote that Harry is the leader of the group.
Even Zacharias Smith.
He half-heartedly puts his hand in the air. Fine. Why is he here?
I don't know. I mean, I just feel like there's just people like that. Like, there's always someone on Drag Race that's like that. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
in like group setting. It's just, there's always one person that's going to be like that. It's just like the naysayer to whatever everyone else is.
The negative Nelly.
Yeah. We won't say Nancy. Because Nan, you are not negative.
She's not, it's true. And then Hermione's like, also can we... She's like, we need to come up with a group name because it fosters like teamwork.
Oh yeah, I know. I was like, girl, you read like a little like when starting a club handbook. Yes. Like, she was like sitting up in her little dormitory, but yeah, she was so excited.
She knew all this already. That's why she came up with Spew last year. She read this last year.
Yeah.
So they decide to call the group Dumbledore's army, which is actually Ginny's suggestion.
I know. I forgot
which I
that.
loved. I didn't know that. At least I didn't remember it.
Yeah, I forgot she was the one that suggested it.
Yeah. I also like that this, and then when she like was doing the like impression of Umbridge, like she just seems like so fun and chill.
I know.
Like I like that that's the vibe that her character has, which I feel like I don't remember that being my impression of Ginny as like a character, but
that's probably from just the movie, because the book Ginny versus movie Ginny is like so different.
Very different, yeah.
Yeah, it's very different.
I mean, she just doesn't get as much screen time in the movies in general anyway. Even though she does end up being like kind of a major character, she still is like...
I think just like in this, I'm not trying to say anything bad about Bonnie Wright, but like I just think that they cast Ginny so young that like
what are you gonna do?
Had they done it later, they probably would have picked kind of like a different energy for Ginny.
Yeah.
But they had already cast her, so
yeah.
Because the way that Joe wrote Ginny as the books go on, it is not that type of it's not the energy that Bonnie brings. It's different,
right?
So.
Well, and also like Ginny, I mean, Ginny goes from she's 10 years old when the book series starts.
Yeah.
And there's so much, it's not like 10 and 11 is a massive difference, but just like the amount of change that you as like a personality go through during that time.
Yeah, in all those years, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So once that's settled, they decide Harry's like, well, let's start with the basics. We're going to start with a little Expelliarmus. Now, we as readers know that this is Harry's favorite fucking spell.
Oh, yeah. Team
Absolute
Expelliarmus.
Favorite. Zachariah Smith is like, first of all, we all know Expelliarmus. Second of all, what am I going to use that against Voldemort? And literally Harry's like, yes, in fact, I used it last June.
Drop the mic.
Drop the mic.
It was so good. And then Zachariah Smith is literally like...
has no retort. And everyone else is like...
oh, it's so great. Yeah, everyone else is like... ooh. I'm trying to think. I wish I could find like a good like meme clip of like when someone is like told someone off. They have some really good ones from like Disney Channel where yes, exactly, where you'll hear the like ooh.
Oh yeah. Ooh. Yeah.
Just like, oh wow. He got told.
Also like Zacharias, it makes sense to start with the fucking basics because when are any of you ever using Expelliarmus generally anyway? Yeah. When are you disarming someone?
I'm sorry. I mean, Harry's retort was like 105% the right response, but like he could have easily been like, oh, I'm sorry. You want to try Expecto Patronum right now, bro? Great. Go. Like, I just am like, dude, what? Your big mouth is going to get you in so much trouble. Like,
He's
just like, shut up. People that say things like that, like, I'm just like, you just deserve to get got. I don't feel bad for you.
No. So they break into pairs, and Harry is drunk with power. Unfortunately, Neville does not have a partner, so Harry teams up with Neville. I know we've said this before, but every time I think about the fact that they share the exact same birthday, which I guess technically we don't know yet, but every time I think about the fact that they share the same birthday, I'm like, that is such a thing you share as like kids.
Yeah,
like my birthday is this day. You would have known this by now. It's so weird to me. Anyway.
It would come up at some point.
So Neville and Harry disarms Neville really quickly, obviously. He's very good at this. He's had a lot of experience using Expelliarmus. It is also his favorite spell. Neville, Harry's like looking around the room and Neville gets Harry. He disarms him because Harry wasn't really paying attention. And I do like that Harry was like, okay, but I wasn't paying attention.
That didn't really,
But externally,
yes,
was like, oh, good job, Neville, blah, 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 because that's
totally
what
agree.
You should be doing.
As a teacher.
We love to see growth. Honestly, we love seeing growth.
Yeah, it was a great response to that. Yeah. I was like, good job, Harry.
And then, Harry goes and he tells Neville to join Ron and Hermione while they practice, and then he can like go and walk around and see how people are doing.
Yeah.
Zachariah Smith is not doing well because every time he goes to lift his wand,
Great.
It comes out of his hand. But his partner's not doing anything, so they're so confused. They seem to be so confused, but
so
Harry
weird.
realizes that Fred and George are doing it, are disarming him from behind him.
Classic.
Which is very funny. I also we know I love my Creevy boys. I love the Creevies. The Creevies
even though it doesn't make sense that they somehow were there for that first meeting, but fine, whatever. Fine, whatever. Here they are.
I love the fact that they're like really bad at Expelliarmus, so they're just like knocking books off the bookshelves. Like, it's just
so cute.
God bless these characters. So he goes around once, and then he's like, okay, well, we're gonna refocus, but he's really having a hard time getting their attention. He did not grow up in the American school system, so he's not used to if you hear my voice clap once, if you hear my voice clap twice.
Yeah. No, does not know that one. I'll have to ask if that's popular here. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. So he is like, oh, I wish I had a whistle. And then all of a sudden a whistle appears. This is like, again, I love it. I'm eating it up. I love it. So he whistles, everybody focuses, and he's like, great, keep going. Which, okay. He doesn't give any pointers. That was the only thing, is I was like, you should have had a point to make if you're going to make everybody refocus.
Stop everyone. Yeah, that is weird. Yeah, wait,
he literally
I didn't
just
really
like,
register
okay,
that.
keep going. You just stopped us.
Yeah, we would have been, bro. Thanks for interrupting. Anyways.
He didn't have anything to say. He wasn't like,
yeah.
I mean, he said like great
more.
job. It's going well. There's room for improvement or something like that. But then like,
yeah, no, that's weird. He should have, had a couple of pointers.
I'm noticing that some of you are not, blah, blah, blah. No, doesn't do that. It's very funny. But he does go down. He walks around. Once they start again, he goes around and like starts actually giving pointers one-on-one to people, which is good. Great, whatever. And then finally he's like, okay, well, I've now walked around the room twice and I have fully avoided Cho. And her friend's name is Marietta, by the way. We learned this in this chapter.
Yeah, Marietta.
So I guess I'll go over. And Cho is so me. And when I say that to say, she comes over and like, she says, oh, you made me nervous. But also like, you're a Ravenclaw girl. Here's what I'm going to say. This is all an act. This whole like, expelliarmus? What's the spell? I don't even remember. Girl, that is me.
You would do that?
Oh, yeah.
Expelliarmus. I mean, Expelliarmus.
What is it? What's the spell that we've been doing for 20 minutes? What? Oh, amazing. I love it. Listen, get your man, Cho.
Oh my God. That's so funny. I didn't even think of that at all, because I'm very aware that the most intelligent of people can become a puddle of mush as soon as their crush walks past, including myself. So... Oh my God.
I think it's all an act, and I love it. I love that for her.
We'll go with that.
I think she's brilliant. They talk about, I like also, they kind of like start flirting, and Marietta is fully like annoyed, which if I was the third wheel, I would be like, okay, hello.
Might as well talk to someone else and make a new friend while I'm here, I guess.
Yeah.
The weird thing is that Cho just fully is like, she doesn't really want to be here. I was like shocked that she just said that. I was like,
she doesn't really like you, Harry.
Yeah, I was like, this is the boy you have a crush on, and you're just going to like straight up tell him that? I don't know. I was like, I think that's a little bit of a red flag, girl, but okay.
That's funny. So she says like she doesn't want to be here, but also because like her parents have forbade her from doing anything that would like anger Umbridge, because Marietta's parents work for the ministry, so blah blah blah. Obviously Umbridge wields a lot of power, but also I'm sure a lot of sway with Cornelius Fudge too, so
yeah, there's
just like a lot. I think it would be very difficult. I mean, like, I understand why her parents are saying that.
Yeah, people are
like,
afraid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
It sucks that it's gotten to that point. It's kind of crazy that it's gotten to that point. And that would be, speaking of red flags, red flag.
Big red flag.
And then Harry asks about Cho's parents. And she's like, oh, well, my parents also said I should not do anything to get in trouble. But I don't care because you know, I'm not going to just sit around when we all know what happened to Cedric last year, and then like cuts herself off and is like, because the secret is that she's not over Cedric.
Yeah.
Which is very sad.
Yeah, very sad. And I'm sure very confusing for her, which later Hermione will address this. That, like, that would be a very difficult position to be in. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Harry notices the time. It's 9:15 or it's 9:10 or something like that. They have to get back to their common rooms because I'm guessing the way it's said is that like 9 o'clock is when you're supposed to be back in your common rooms.
I guess.
Like, we gotta end. Filch is out. We gotta end.
Yeah.
So it must be 9.
Filch is on the move. Mrs. Norris has been released.
They promised to meet next Wednesday. That's going to be their next meeting. Dean Thomas, Slay, the prefect of my heart, Dean Thomas.
Yes, yeah, for both of us.
Our hearts is like, canonically on this podcast, Dean and Hermione are the prefects.
Dean and Hermione, and they ended up together. Sorry.
Yes. Oh.
Sorry. Maybe I won't go that far. They're prefects. They're prefects together.
He's like, we should meet before then. And Angelina's like, we do have to have Quidditch practice.
Don't you forget about Quidditch.
Don't forget about Quidditch.
I mean,
much
honestly,
to Adam's chagrin. I
get it, because at this point, the fact that like their practice has gotten rained out, the other one wasn't very good, and then Umbridge like made them wait. This girl is like in panic mode for this next match. So I get it, Angelina. It's okay. You go.
So they leave. This is also Harry. Look at this. Look at the intelligence emanating from this man. He goes, oh, here, let me send you out in groups while I watch the Marauders map to make sure that no one gets caught. I mean, who knew he had this in him?
Saying. So I'm just saying that like this boy does have the ability to be self-aware or like, you know, have awareness in situations. So, Harry, we're not going to tolerate anything less from now on. That's what I'm saying.
Say that.
I'm
also,
just saying.
It's very like he got like real responsibility and is like actually like feels the pressure of the responsibility as opposed to like, I mean, all the responsibility he's had so far has been like forced upon him. So I think that is like why he kind of has not always been great under pressure, but like
and
this because it's such a purposeful choice. Yeah.
Being a seeker has a decent amount of responsibility, but your only responsibility is like catching the snitch.
Game.
So,
Yeah. Great. And so then they're the last 3 to leave, Harry, Ron, and Hermione. Ron and Hermione argue all the way back to the common room about how many times Ron got Hermione or whatever, which is very fun. But Harry he's not even fazed by their argument because he is so...
He's in his own little world.
Cho, I made Cho nervous. Fuck.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the chapter.
All right, that wraps up this chapter. Next week we'll be reading chapter 19, The Lion and the Serpent. Well, I wonder what that could be about. I wonder what that could be about.
Probably the Hufflepuff Ravenclaw match, I would assume.
Yeah. Hufflepuff versus Ravenclaw for sure. I don't know if you checked reviews, but we do have a comment, don't we?
We do not have a review, but we did have a comment. Are you saying on YouTube?
Yeah. I know this is a pointless thought rant, but your discussion on it did have me thinking. I feel like the dorm slide is a fun visual in terms of just stairs turning into a slide is fun, LOL. But it's not a fun fact I enjoy or needed. I've never read that and not thought about how would that enchantment even work? And after a couple of rereads, I still didn't get it. Years later, I think I now have settled on it being because it was a small but simple example of Jo slipping in her own misunderstanding of both sex and gender because like it's not specified which the enchantment is taking into account, but from what we know in the books and Jo, yeah, that's very well said. I can see what she was trying to say, but that wouldn't work in reality because if your sex and gender don't exactly align and fit, then how would those dorms work? Are we reading minds or chromosomes or primary, secondary characteristics, or is the enchantment more progressive than both Jo and the founders? And like, just who knows? Just more questions than will ever be answered. And to be honest, would I even want to know? ? Anyways, thanks for another great pod episode. I had been struggling with engaging in HP content, and this podcast has brought me a lot of comfort the last couple months. Thank you so much. Wait, Adam, I'm sorry, but you did not include their username.
That is from Jay.
Thank you, Jay. Yeah, a really good point. And when we saw this comment and we were discussing it, I was saying that is literally the purpose of this podcast, is to let you guys, encourage you all to engage in Harry Potter while not supporting Joe's transphobic ass. So we're so glad that you're able to engage with Harry Potter this way. That's exactly why we do this. And thank you so much for that comment. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you find your podcasts, as well as video versions on the Ampliverse YouTube channel or Spotify. As always, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so that we can get a perfect Newt score, 5 stars only, or else you'll have to play it dumb in front of your crush to get their attention.
Expelli what's it?
Expelliarmus. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at HPAnxious or YouTube and TikTok at The Ampliverse. We are hosted on Spotify for podcasters, so thank you to them, and are a proud member of The Ampliverse. Check them out at theampliverse.com. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Ari.
And as always, Expelliarmus.